Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is the year 2023. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Happy New Year, and I can't wait to get what we're about to get started.
It's time, man. We concluded our 52-year journey through film. We made a really big deal about it every Friday for a whole fucking year. And we were just like, you know what? We got to continue movie coverage somehow, but let's get back to the Cape shit. Let's go full nerddom again. You know, we had fun becoming minor film critics. Very, very friendly film critics. So it felt perfect to go ahead and dive in to all the classic Cape shit. Starting today, every Friday for the foreseeable future. We got a couple years potentially planned out for this project. Every comic book movie with Marvel or DC characters.
We just wanted to have some fun.
Yeah, this shit's just supposed to be fun, man. We are going to do a little bit of critiquing, you know. I mean, not for real. I can only critique this so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna respect it for how fun it is. That's kind of what I'm here for. I'm here for how fun this project's going to be. It is the Journey Through Film Comic Book Movie Edition. And we're starting today with Batman 1966. Back with Adam West and Burt Ward.
All right. First watch for me. I've never seen this.
No
Batman.
shit. I watched this like a lot when I was super duper young.
Okay. Maybe it has been on. Like I at a slumber party when I was probably 5 or 6.
Is there something about it that is so vaguely familiar?
The Penguin. I don't know why. That is the only thing that stuck in my head from the childhood was this penguin. I
remember
maybe he scared me as a kid, and it was the only one that
right.
I think it was his nose, honestly. But
yeah, no, I watched this a lot when I was little, and I hadn't watched it in at least 15 years. Like when I say little, I mean like I was like 6 or younger, so 16 years or longer, coming up on 17. Since I'll be 23 here in a few days. But, yeah, man, all I remembered about this movie is that there's a boat, there's some water, there's a lot of water, a lot of it takes place near water, and that's kind of what I remembered about it. And this was my first watch in a super long time. I've been watching the series, since there is a series that ran for like 3 seasons. A ton of episodes back in 1966 with Adam West, Burt Ward, Batman, Robin, Alan Napier as Alfred and everything.
Post movie or after or before movie?
I think, if I remember correctly, I think the show started right before the movie came out, so it was kind of like they were like, "Yeah, we're going to do all of this," you know, at the same time. Here, let me check that for sure. But my computer's taking its sweet fucking time loading stuff. But yeah, it at least started in 1966 for sure. So it was around the same time. What do we got here?
January 12th, 1966 was episode 1.
So, a few months before. It started a few months before the movie came out as this show was showing. So that's cool. But yeah, so I turn that on every once in a while whenever I'm just like turn brain off, get baked, watch Batman 66 on Tubi TV. But Yeah, it was a long time coming since I've seen this, and I threw out the idea here for us for this project that we go ahead and read some comics each week alongside the movie that we bring to the table. Some minor influences, this movie specifically doesn't have a lot of influence from comics. It was a pretty new direction generally for the character Batman. It was much more like, you got Joker in the comic books we read here, like actually like being a serial killer, murdering multiple people and everything.
That's what I love about the comics is that, like, depending on the writer, so many things could be different. In one, Joker literally just caps people in the head, or just shoots people straight up. And others, like, most of the time, it'll just be like his venom that kills them and makes them smile. But like Batman is like cool with just letting people fall off a building.
Yeah,
or,
he
hasn't
has not yet at this point in the comics refined his stance on murder.
No, because I was reading and I'm like,
I'll kill you all.
There, I'm like, wait a minute there, like.
Yeah, no, this is early days Batman. So some of the books we had here were Detective Comics number 27, famously the first appearance of Bruce Wayne, the first Batman story, where they reveal to us that, they have Jim Gordon sitting down at the beginning with his friend Bruce Wayne, and we cut to a crime and Batman shows up, and then at the end it is revealed to us, Bruce Wayne is Batman. Whoa! Who knew?
No way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really cool because these are my first comics ever. Actually,
true.
Sitting down and reading. So this is my first comic experience ever, and I'm experiencing kind of like the inception of Batman. So
very cool. Yeah, very very cool.
And very cool way to jump into comics.
And it'll only get cooler. Yeah, it'll only get cooler as you see the evolution of comics over time. Whenever we get to more modern movies, and the influences can range from 1960 comic books to 2010 comic books. There's a wide range of influence, and luckily we only had about 27 years of influence before this movie, so not a ton of options. But we also got Detective Comics number 38, which was the inception of the dynamic duo, the first time Robin becomes Robin.
Dick Grayson.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like I got that right.
Yeah, Dick Grayson.
Man, they throw in a lot of Dick, like,
hey, Dick.
Dick pumps. Like, there were like the adjectives or verbs. I guess those are verbs. I don't know. They would use like very sexual talk, like whenever it was just narration and about Dick. Like, I don't know how many times like I was like, oh, very interesting choice of words there. But
Dick pumps the brakes. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Like, I mean, there was one where I think it was like pumps, like a woman. Like, he was like the word pump did not make sense whatsoever. Like, I don't know. I forgot what it was. But
no, that's so funny though, because you're absolutely right. Like, reading these old comics, you go, man, it was a different time here, huh? Like, this is what kids were like. Oh yeah. This is the shit that made people go, it'll rot the kids' brains. This is from the fucking devil. What?
This is like what we have today is the internet, which you never know what you're going to get, or video games, whatever. But, like, this was their, like, just past, like, this was, like, how they would nerd out back, back in 1939, 1940. They'd pick up a comic and read and be like, "Oh, I'm a kid and I'm enjoying myself." But like,
dude,
to someone who has been outside of comics for their whole life, like it seems to me as like one of the most innocent forms of enjoying like superhero content there is. Like, it's like, yeah,
specifically at this time and in the next 20 or so years. 70s, 80s, 90s, you slowly get more and more like risque and sexualized in a lot of senses. more violence and stuff.
I feel like the money started to make decisions. Like,
well, there's
whenever
also
the market got bigger, so they had to make it more marketable.
And it's really interesting when you start looking into the history of comics, the amount of dips there are. Like, as far as, like, it was really big for, like, a few years here, and then it was like, oh, shit, the industry might die. And then it'd be like, oh, here's a character that saved the day, and then, boop, down the shitter again. Like, it's a very, very up and down industry, so it's really interesting that, like, 40s through 60s, it was a different age, just a different time. And, we get another April 1940, we got both Detective Comics number 38 and Batman number 1, the first Batman title ever.
This one was sick.
This one was good, and it was also Joker's first appearance.
It might be my favorite out of all. This one it was kind of the one that had a lot of story. It was the first kind of more beefy one. Mm-hmm. And like I was really into it. Like I don't know. The other ones they were very short and quick, and it was like a nice kind of
ease you in
poop comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, this one was like I was in. I was sitting like on my desk. I had it on my computer, and I was just like, I just didn't stop. Like for however
and it's a very long book too, 54 pages or something like that, and it is Joker's first appearance. It is also the Cat, as she is referred to, her first appearance. So we also got Catwoman's first appearance, and the ones I didn't list here, Riddler is a pretty inconsequential character in the comic books prior to this movie. Very interestingly, he becomes more of a main Batman antagonist because of this movie and because of this show. And I didn't include Penguin's first appearance because I want to save some stuff for when we get to like Batman Returns, Batman 89, and all the stuff later on in the 90s and late 80s. I feel like some first appearances saved for then is not the worst thing, but
oh, dude, I trust your picks with the comics. I
appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't have any worry with that whatsoever.
Cool. I just wanted to clear up for anyone who might be an even more, and there are plenty of people more well versed in comics than I am. Just wanted to make it clear to anyone who's like, oh, why didn't you include this one? Oh wait, where's his first appearance? Like, we got a lot of movies to cover and a lot of first appearance books that I want to split up, sort of. I don't want to load them all up here. So I figured Joker and Catwoman shared in Batman number 1. It's Batman number 1. How am I not going to include Batman number 1 for the first movie that we're talking about? So,
fair.
Had to get it here, and I love that Joker story. You know, the way he's in the very first story at the beginning of that book, and his is like, he breaks out 2 days later and is wreaking havoc there at the end of the book.
Oh, in my 2 fake teeth, I have chemicals that, when mixed together, create an explosion.
Yeah, it was like, I'm going to put these in my mouth.
Batman had the same thing in his heel.
Yeah.
Good thing they didn't know about my heel. I have 2 chemicals in there that, when mixed together, create an explosion.
Exactly. The fucking phone call where he said something so loud it shot a dart from the phone into the guy's ear. Things like that make you go, oh, those comics were so clearly an influence on this movie.
I mean, I'm not even mad. Like, if I were to see some of these things in a movie today, I feel like I'd be mad, or I'd be like, wow.
Are you fucking for real?
Like, are you for real? But when I'm reading them in a comic, it's more like, I'd rather it be this way. Like,
yeah.
It's a different type of entertainment, like, from a movie or, I don't know, like a TV show. I don't know, from just visual. I mean, but the thing is, there is visuals there. So it's like...
Yeah, and like, it's
so
such
hard
an
to
interesting form of... No, yeah, because you almost want it to be more campy and more comic booky. You want it to be more outrageous and hard to explain, and you know what? Fuck explaining. I don't need it. You know, you want it to be more like that because it just makes it more fun. It allows the creators to do whatever the fuck they want on pages. And you get so, like, there are just thousands and thousands and thousands of comic books out there, and there's so much outrageous stuff out there. But furthermore, Batman number 16, another one that we had essentials, and these I did Alfred's first appearance, and then Detective Comics number 83, where he becomes the Alfred we know and love. because he's a little bit more voluptuous, a little bit more plump when we meet him in Batman number 16. And was it Batman 16 or Detective Comics that he figures out? It was Batman 16 that he figures out Bruce Wayne was Batman, right? It was his first appearance. Yeah.
Unless I'm blending the two together.
I don't think so, because he gets a vacation in the next one and goes off and slims down and everything.
Yeah, no, it was 16.
Yeah, Batman 16. And I just wanted to get Alfred in here because I figured the origins of the Bat family, and then the two essential Batman villains, Joker and Catwoman, kind of felt like a good place to start here. And Alfred, such a crucial role for Batman. Less so in this movie than he is in the TV show of the Batman 66 stuff, but would have loved to seen more of him in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was all just whenever you have Robin, it was just Batman and Robin. Know, there wasn't just
the
much
dynamic duo.
Just is that I don't know. I've never heard them called that before. Is that still up to date? Are they known as the dynamic duo still?
That's interesting. No, they're not. Usually, people who call them the dynamic duo are Joker, who's fucking with them, is oh, the dynamic duo here to stop me. Shit like that. They're rarely referred to seriously on page as the dynamic duo enters the scene. No, it's usually
because I've never heard that. I've only ever heard Batman and Robin. Yeah, just their straight up names. But I didn't know if I don't know, because I haven't even really seen any of the other Batman movies. The Christian Bale and Robert Pattinson, from Christian Bale on.
Oh man, for real?
I haven't seen.
We're gonna have some fucking fun.
Well, I've seen that's the thing is I know that there's one where Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, but I couldn't tell you anything that really happens in that movie.
Okay, gotcha. So you've seen the movies; it's just been a really long fucking time.
I've basically never seen them. It'll be a first watch whenever I do watch it. I've probably only seen YouTube clips or TikToks.
Oh, we're gonna have some fucking fun.
Yeah,
because I mean, this is critically far and away the worst Batman movie. This is not a good movie by any standard. I don't think it's fun as fuck. It's hilarious. And I absolutely love watching it. It's ridiculously propagandic, which is the funniest shit I've ever seen.
It starts out, though, by saying, this is a fun movie meant for people who love fun and fun. They were we don't give a shit, or, I don't know, it's don't give a shit about this.
And it's very much so not taking itself seriously.
Yeah.
That part where
the bat ladder, the bat shark repellent spray, the bat everything,
the bat everything, the complete lack of subtlety, the fucking submarine having a penguin head for a fucking overlook thing,
and little flippers, feet, their little webbed feet flipping in the back. Oh man!
But the shot that most specifically makes me go, wow, they are fucking around hard, is at the end when he realizes Kitka was Catwoman, and Robin pulls up. He's like, "Holy heartbreak, Batman!" And Adam West just looks at the camera, and it's 20 seconds of music flaring up and him pretending he's about to cry and just never getting there.
It's all right, Robin. This happens once in every superhero's. What did he say?
Every
afterwards?
crime fighter's life.
It's all right, Robin. This
is just the life of a crime fighter.
It's the life I live. I have to be used to this. I don't know. Even though it was ridiculous,
it lays the fundamental groundwork for the way these stories work.
Yeah, I mean, the technology was just awesome. To see what they could come up with in 1966 for
the dust particulator, the molecule.
I will pull all of the humidity out of you, or what was there? Oh my gosh.
It was the fucking just dehydrator.
Dehydrator. That's
Yes.
yeah.
All the
It'll
water out of
dehydrate
it.
you.
All the water out of a human body led to
And-
that tiny amount of water in that little thing,
Yeah.
and turned them into a tiny pile of dust.
I love how like the fate of the universe is at stake in like Avengers Infinity War, right? You have a snap that could literally kill everyone if it happens. Like, but the threat of the world here is like not being able to rehydrate these important world leaders. Like
These
that is
non-important
the
people.
that's the threat of the world, is just to have these 9 people live again, you know? Like I don't know.
I love it. Well, and he's
Beautiful.
like, I love the conclusion they come to early on in the movie whenever they're like, they combine all the clues and realize they're all working together.
It's so obvious. Yeah, it was so.
It's so obvious. It's
It was in
elementary.
water.
Elementary, Robin.
It was at the C. C for Catwoman. And
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
And then whenever they're like, what do you think their goal is, Batman? And he's like, well, one of them, I'd say they're trying to take over the city. But with all 4 of them, they must be after the whole world.
No, oh man, I feel like there's an intermediate thing there where it's like one of them, yeah, over the whole city. It only takes 2 of them to go for the world. Oh, 4 of them. I don't know. I don't even know.
I don't
like
even want to think about
like-
that.
Oh man, I don't know. This, even though it was okay, like it wasn't funny in the sense of like, oh, you got me, like I haven't heard that one.
No,
before.
it's
It was
funny
like,
how bad it is.
yeah, but it got me to chuckle. Like,
But
a
that's
couple
the
times.
thing
Like,
too.
I'm
It's
just-
like I can't tell if it's like they were, if they knew
Aw.
that's what the joke was, like if they knew, or if they were just trying to be funny.
wait, is that actual comedy in 1966? Like, is this?
Well, that's the thing. They can only get so outrageous in 1966. But like that part, like here's all you need to know this is a comedy movie, and they knew it was a comedy movie. The sequence with the bomb, when he's running around trying to find the right place to ditch the bomb, and some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Like there's no way they didn't know that was funny as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Which
That
leads
was
me to go, anything that is like funny, like, oh my god, this is so bad, it is genuinely them trying to write something funny.
Yeah, like the instant costume change lever when they're going down the pole, like that was just, you know,
They get to be outrageous as fuck with it. I love it.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like this isn't real. This isn't, this isn't the Dark Knight, or this isn't the Batman, where everything now every day, like everything has to be hyper real, pretty much. But this was just fun. That's all. What like it was. It's kind of the space, like the Spaceballs of our previous project. But I feel
We're kicking it off with this one.
yeah, we're this critically, yeah, no, it's not a Godfather, obviously. It's not anything near. But like, that's not the point.
No, it's certainly not.
Yeah, that's not.
And
the
that's
point
why
at all.
we have so many different ratings at the end when we come to our conclusion. We'll be able to critically evaluate it and evaluate it based on how much we enjoy it. And that's what's so crucial about this film for me. But there are so many great fucking jokes here. Like quotes that are just the most outrageous shit. Yeah, it could be any Commissioner Gordon. It could be any one of them. But which one? Which ones? Batman, pretty fishy. What happened to me on that ladder? Commissioner Gordon, you mean when there's a fish, there could be a penguin? Robin being like, but wait, it happened at sea. C for Catwoman. Yet an exploding shark was pulling my leg. The Joker! All adds up to a sinister riddle. Riddler.
That was,
Oh, the thought strikes me, so dreadful. I scarcely dare give it utterance. The 4 of them, their forces combined. Holy nightmare! Like, it's just so So outrageous. Oh, and the opening montage where they take off in the Batcopter is some of the funny. They're flying over a roof. Who's on that roof? Chicks in bikinis. Why not? Chicks in bikinis on that roof. They're just hanging out. The cops look up at them and go like, "Whoa, look, look!" And then like it cuts up to the Batcopter. We cut back and they're all fucking saluting.
Yeah.
Like that was gold, man. And
I love how it's literally just a helicopter and they just put some wings on it. Like
Oh, yeah.
it is literally a helicopter. Like I don't know. It didn't need to be any. Like it's the Batcopter.
it's the Batcopter.
It's, you know, it like I don't know. I
Frankly, the Batmobile, the Batboat, these are both incredible.
This Batmobile's actually sick.
I do love this Batmobile.
Like, no kidding around. They, like, I think in the 60s, cars are just, that's a big thing. Guys like their cars. They knew that they had to put a badass car in here, and they're like, fuck it, we're putting a jet engine on the back of this bitch, and we're, like, the look is...
Very clean.
It might be, like... I don't know. That's an interesting list to rank there. Favorite Batmobiles.
Gonna have to do it with every Batman movie. We'll get around to all of it. You know, we'll go Batcave, Batmobile, favorite Batman. Once we get all the Batmans, with each ensuing Batman and Batman movie, we will update the rankings list. We'll do the same with Superman and Spider-Man as well. But
yes.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that.
Oh,
but
this project is just going to be so much fun.
it's going to be ridiculous, man. Just like this film. Of the villains here, you know, we have the Penguin, we have the Riddler, we have the Joker, and we have Catwoman. Which is your favorite in this movie?
Ooh. That's tough to pick between. I think it's probably the Penguin.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. It's just... Well, he's either, like, kind of the... I love his little... Like, the way he lights his cigarette, you know, comes out of his umbrella.
Yeah, he has a whole umbrella just dedicated to being a lighter.
Yeah, and wasn't it him who, like had the whatever?
Yeah,
like, he was the one who...
The ship they commandeered was that of Commodore, whatever the fuck, and he had the weapon.
That's right. Never mind.
Can you riddle me this, Batman? Why on earth are the henchmen pirate-themed? Why the fuck are the henchmen pirate-themed? I can't wrap my mind around it. It's a submarine. It doesn't even come close to making sense.
Wait, yeah. Wait. It's not even pirates. Wait. Wait. I didn't even think of this during whatsoever.
They're like, yo ho, Captain. Like, what the fuck?
I guess the movie was just so ridiculous that I just accepted it.
You went with it.
Yep. All right. Cool.
They have pirate henchmen.
Yeah, I didn't even take any. I didn't think it was out of the ordinary. Wow, that's insane. Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
There's not a single bit of it makes sense as far as the pirate henchmen being there at all. But Penguin is a good choice. He's got a few great quotes in this one. Careful, careful. Every one of them has a mother.
Yeah, that
shit was funny.
That was pretty good. I mean, it might be Catwoman, though, because she has more...
she's the central player in there.
Yeah, that's why I was like... I think I like the quirks of the Penguin more, and like the little quirk, like whatever, like the funny stuff, but like the actual character itself would be Cat. I guess there I go. There's a perfect distinction right there. I think I just liked the Well, I don't know if I did like the performance of Catwoman more, actually.
Much to consider. However,
well, I guess, yeah.
Let me throw out this my favorite villain moment, potentially in this entire movie, belongs to the Riddler. It's when he is like, I see the way to do it. We'll play each of our treacherous trumps in one hand, and we'll do it right here. And the Penguin's like, how? Riddler goes, how? The end, oh. Giggles, and he goes, we shall spring them from the Joker's Jack-in-the-Box, through that window, over the sea, and in the waiting arms of the Penguin's exploding octopus, of course. Why not Penguin's exploding octopus? The trigger, of course, one of my riddles, and the bait, you, Catwoman. The fact that this man's only involvement in this plan is that he has to tell a riddle to trigger the Jack-in-the-Box is the funniest shit of all time.
Yeah. We'll just use... It's not like he even really came up with a new idea. He just combined every idea into one and said,
then shoehorned himself into it.
I'll throw in a riddle, too, to get him. You know, that's my thing. I'm gonna do a riddle to him.
You know what, Penguin? You brought the exploding octopus to the table, and frankly, I really respect that. Joker, you actually have the means to catapult this motherfucker out of the building. Catwoman, you're obviously really enticing to this man. You'll be bait. I don't know. I guess I could tell a riddle. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out a way to get that a part of the plan.
Big brain.
Big brain. And the way one of the henchmen gets tossed out of the window and lands in the arms of the waiting exploding octopus. It was just chilling there the whole day.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, it would... Man, there's so many things in this movie that I just, like... I'm already of the mind of, like, I don't care.
Exactly.
Like, that I'm just, like, accepting some of these things. Like,
oh yeah, I couldn't give less of a fuck, you know, like, frankly, I prefer this movie is like that.
You know, and that's exactly like how I feel reading, like, while reading through these comics too, is like, I'm in that mindset, and this is like a very comic booky movie. Like even though it might not be similar to the comics that we read, like, it is of every superhero movie.
It's cut from the same cloth, for sure.
Yeah, it's not a Logan. It's not a, Dark Knight where there's a very serious tone to it. It's very fun, very light, very, I don't know, comic booky. And I think that, I don't know, it made it just more fun. Like, not to have to really focus on the movie and have to be like, oh wow, this shot is representing blah blah blah, and now this character, I mean, I don't hate that. Like, I love watching movie, like, I love those movies, like Parasite or like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad movie experience, but whenever I want to just sit back and just not really care too hard about a character, I'm not going to cry, about anything. I'm just having fun, and that's what it was. I don't know.
I had a great time watching this movie, man. There are a few things I enjoy more than Burt Ward as Robin yelling, "Holy whatever the fuck, Batman!"
Is that the line for the movie? Holy blank, Batman.
Holy Polaris! Holy Long John Silver! Holy Halloween!
I was trying to think of a line, and
Holy Demolition! Holy Bikini!
It might be holy blank.
Holy blank.
The one line I did remember of the movie was, like, they all have mothers. Like, that penguin line, whenever they're scraping him in. That was the line I remember, but I don't know if it was, like, if that's the line for the whole...
Let's do some favorites then. What would be your favorite line from this movie?
I mean, I'd say it probably is the penguin line, just the short little joke. But I don't know. Maybe there's another penguin joke that was.
I'll give you my favorite in the meantime, because it is the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard in my life.
Okay.
We're coming to the end of the movie. The problem's been solved. Everybody's been put back. However, they're speaking new languages. And Batman goes, "Who knows, Robin? This strange mixing of minds may be the single greatest service ever performed for humanity. Let's leave." But inconspicuously, through the window, we'll use our bat ropes. Our job is finished. I love the idea that Batman was like, "Oh, fuck. We definitely fucked up here. However, I'm going to play it off like this is exactly what needed to happen." Who knows, Robin? This strange mixing of minds may be the greatest single service ever performed for humanity. I just love the idea that everyone speaking each other's language and still having no idea what the fuck each other are saying might be the single greatest service ever performed for humanity.
See ya.
Yeah, let's go.
And they didn't need to go out the window.
No,
either.
They could have just left.
They didn't come in like through the
In fact, it is more conspicuous for you to go to the window and set up your bat ropes.
Yeah, I mean, just a nice way to have the credits roll and have something like in the background. It
True,
was cool.
True.
It was cool, but yeah, what a an interesting. Just like, yeah, all right, now we definitely our only exit from this room is through the window. I can't see any other way out of here.
It's fucking glorious. You can actually just put "Who knows, Robin," and I'll know exactly what it was.
Well, I can, yeah. I feel like I can format it in a way to where it will actually
you
have
genius, you.
I believe.
But holy genius, Batman! But have you settled on a potential favorite line yet?
I think it. I mean, it's the only one I do remember. And it's like it was like a real laugh during the movie. And it was the Penguin just like, careful, that, every one of them has a mother. I don't know. It was just very short and sweet.
It was very funny, too. It's like, yeah, now you're concerned about how every one of them has a mother. Now that you've turned them to a pile of dust.
Here we go.
I love the way they hate on drinking in this movie. Gosh, drinking's sure a filthy thing, isn't it? I'd rather be dead than unable to trust my own eyes. Batman, That shit at the end when Robin's like, "You risked your life to save that riffraff in the bar." And Batman goes, "They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings and may be salvaged. I had to do it."
He's so serious. He's so serious, but just not at the same time.
Right.
Like I love the way that they had to separate all of everyone's, dehumidified remains, in the machine that he created. The president's on the
rearranger.
Phone. Gordon's calling him.
Success.
Can you do it? He's like, by God, if we can't, I don't know who could. It is only up to me and Robin to save the world. Gordon, there's always hope, though. Yeah, that was the first thing he asked. It was like, is there any hope? And he's like, come on, Gordon, there's always hope. Is that even a question?
Yes, it's fucking fantastic.
I don't know. It was very fun. I think that, I was trying to land on a scene, like my favorite scene. It might just be the end, but is that too easy? Like no, that doesn't count as a scene. That's multiple scenes together. Like I can't go from rehumidifying all the way to them flying out the window. That's too much. I don't know. Do you have a scene in mind, like a specific scene?
My favorite scene might be when they've kidnapped Bruce Wayne and they have him on the boat and they convince him that Kitka is a different person in the other room, and then he fights them. He goes back into the room and is like, "Kitka, where'd you go?" I thought that shit was so funny.
How is that spelled?
Kitka? Kitka, I think.
Okay. Kitka? on the yacht. And now that I think about it, maybe the bomb. Just the bomb
is glorious.
Like if I were to take one clip out of this movie, just to be like,
it's
hey,
the bomb.
To give someone a good overall, what is this movie like? I'm just gonna show them that. Like, I feel like that's a good overall.
My that is a fucking fantastic part of the movie. The thing that brought me to the Bruce and Kitka on the yacht is whenever they like throw him in the room and he like sits near the edge of the bed and then he climbs on the bed, realizes how close they are, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna scoot off this bed real quick." Man, this was so conservative and so for the kids. It's hilarious.
I guess you gotta. I mean, this would be in
I don't know
66 to go in a theater and see this. Like,
here's my thing, man. I don't think we get a single more obviously horny Batman at any point than when he is face to face with Kitka. Like, I'm gonna risk it all.
He would that dude. He was simping hard. But I mean, it's he has to. That's like his. Who else is he gonna love in this universe? This is
fucking glorious. That this does set up so many just classic Batman tropes. Like him not realizing Selena Kyle as she becomes his Catwoman.
Yeah,
falling in love with Selena Kyle and then realizing she's Catwoman later and shit like that. Like that's I like that about this movie.
Yeah, it is. A lot of it's like it's weird watching a new Batman movie where we know all the Batman tropes, we know the origin, and we have all this information. But here, like, no one had really anything. If they didn't read comics, this is probably the first time introduction to like for a lot of people. Like they had nothing to go off of, which is kind of a weird like thought experiment to put yourself in the mind of someone at this time too. Like I guess we would have read the comics a little bit, so we would have known some stuff. But I'd say the majority of people that saw this movie, I don't know. I guess were comics way bigger back then? Like, would you think what percentage of the movie base do you think would have read the comics?
It's a good question. There's also the fact that how many people would have been interested in this had they not. All things to consider. Man, another one of my favorite moments. Salt and corrosion. The infamous old enemies of the crime fighter. No Prince here.
Salt and corrosion. The ultimate. He's so, like, he's doing, like, he's like an American. Don't worry. Under these costumes, we are just normal Americans.
Oh, it's so propagandic. It's hilarious.
And he's, like, he talks himself up so much. Like,
that part whenever they land on that giant pile of foam and Robin's like, "Oh, how lucky we were that this was here, Batman." And he's like, "Oh, lucky indeed. I mean, I did think I saw it out of the corner of my eye, but..." Like, come on, dude. Stop. Shut the fuck up for a second.
No, he can't be wrong. He's Batman.
Yeah.
Robin's the sidekick. He can't prove Batman wrong.
I mean, and the way she calls them comrades in crime, like, couldn't be more clearly trying to evoke a certain sort of enemy of the people at this time, if I had to say so myself, the communists for America. But, when Bruce and Kitka are going back and forth, and he's like, "Up my left sleeve, I have a tiny radio transmitter strapped above my elbow." She's like, "What a curious device to carry." He goes, "Not at all, Miss Kitka. Capitalists, like myself, who carry large sums of money, often have such contrivances." I was like, God damn, we were really trying to push this capitalism is ideal thing on folks here. All the police worshipping and the way Kitka calls everyone comrade. She calls Bruce Comrade Wayne.
Man, yeah, they're pretty clear. pretty clear here with I don't know what's the word. Where they were going, I don't know what the word for that is. Just their propaganda, I guess. I'm trying to find another word that is like a big lump that groups all of it into one.
Nationalist messaging.
There you go. But yeah, wow. Oh, no. Don't worry. Us billionaires always have these things in our sleeves.
And capitalists.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is capitalists,
Yeah.
which is the funniest shit to me. Us capitalists always have such safety contrivances. I thought that shit was so funny. Did you have a favorite shot in the movie?
That's what I was trying to pinpoint.
I actually have one where I was actually quite impressed with like the staging and the way they shot the scene. Mm-hmm. It's whenever they're all trying to. It's Commissioner Gordon, the other guy, Robin, and Batman all pacing back and forth in the room, and they're all weaving in and out of each other. And then the end of the scene comes up on them as they've all walked back into line, and Commissioner Gordon's like in the background, and he approaches from behind. And it's like, oh shit, that was actually some pretty impressive staging there.
Okay.
Y'all pulled that off quite smoothly.
Is that your pick?
I think that would be mine. So I would just say like the four crime fighters pacing.
The one that I was thinking of is like early on, Batcopter, the bat ladder's down, he's hanging sharks on his leg, Robin's going down, hanging it down upside down to hand him the repellent spray. Like when it zooms out and shows like the whole just ridiculous what's happening, I feel like
it's pretty glorious
in a single shot. I feel like
that is pretty epic. I do love that. Another one I really liked is when all the villains are like walking down the hall at the United. I'm gonna call it Nations because I know that's not what it was, but United Nations building, and in the background, Batman and Robin run out from behind them, and it's another good example of some pretty solid staging where they came out in the top right of the camera, everyone else is in the bottom left, and it's like, oh yeah, y'all got that shit figured out a little bit. Yeah, it was overall a pretty funny movie.
That's I don't know, this, even though like there were parts where you could obviously tell where it's like, oh dang, that's like they're on wires, like you could see the wires.
Oh yeah,
like and
there were points in the helicopter where you could see wires.
I wonder if like in the theater if you couldn't, because like screens just weren't that good.
Right.
Like,
right.
You know, the resolution just wasn't good enough. I think they just didn't paint them out because they didn't need to, like back then.
Yeah, they didn't need to.
But even if they could, like, I think, I don't know, might be intentional if they could, like, see, like, they're probably trying to hide them. It's like, no, this is Batman.
They were trying to hide them as best they could, but like, you know, like when they're climbing up the wall and you see the wires holding their capes so that looks like they're actually climbing up a wall.
You know, I don't think the Penguin was my favorite character. No. Okay, character. You know. I really want to put the Batman, but like, is that just, I feel like that's too
on the nose, yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean, like, I'm probably not going to go with the Batman for my favorite performance or character. I love Adam West as Batman. He is classic. Like, there is a very clear influence on the character that he has as far as, like when we get to George Clooney's Batman, it'll feel like George Clooney is doing an Adam West impression once we get back up there. But I think he's fantastic, but I do think there are better elements of this movie than Adam West as Batman. However, he is still Batman, so if he is your favorite character from the movie, I'm not going to be like, yo, what the fuck?
I think what makes like a character, like their look, for one. I love the look of the Penguin. I think like it's so stereotypical. Like it's so, I don't even know, like, I don't know, like the nose, the the whole pipe with the cigar. I don't know, what do you call that thing? Is it a pipe? But it just is like a cigar holder?
It's like a cigarette holder, yeah.
Or cigarette, yes.
But he is smoking through it as well, so like...
Yeah. Whatever that thing's called, his suit, you know, like I think, and his mannerisms are very, like, he is a character.
He does the whole waddle thing all around.
Like, yeah. The Riddler, which was interesting, you know, his costume is very just hilarious.
Oh, a couple costumes.
But,
that one where he pulls off the jacket and it's got like that blue and green underneath. Okay. I was like, yo, he's kind of dripping in that shit. I ain't gonna cap with you.
He kind of had a Joker laugh, like a little bit. Like his laugh was like almost more Joker-like than, like, I don't know. He was kind of more the Joker. I don't know. He felt more like the Joker than the Riddler in this movie, to me.
I can see that. But,
I mean, he's obviously dressed like the Riddler. He doesn't look like the Joker, but his mannerisms were kind of Joker-ish. But I think I'll go back to the Penguin. I liked his jokes. I liked he was always kind of, I don't know. I liked his character here. The whole costume, his mannerisms, his jokes, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Penguin.
I dig it. I'll pick mine then. I think I'm going to go Robin. I like Robin a lot. This is one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite portrayal of Robin on screen, as we have not gotten many. In live action, anyway. I love Burt Ward as Robin. He will not be my pick for the performance. However, I do think he's solid in this role. Robin is fucking hilarious, like I said. Holy whatever the fuck, Batman! It's a classic, and it's just this Robin through and through. I just feel like this Batman would feel wrong if he didn't have this Robin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense that they come together.
They fed off each other a lot. Like, they were a lot better when they were together. That's for, like, they I don't know, they bounced off. That's where I was. They just bounced off each other very well.
Yeah, I agree.
But okay, performance, not Robin, not Batman. Is it the same as I or someone?
It was getting close, but I'm a show a little bias here. I'm gonna go Cesar Romero as the Joker. I really, really enjoy the Joker in this movie, and I think Cesar Romero plays it very, very well. I think, given the Joker we've come to know, he doesn't play that Joker exactly, but I think that's only because of the writing he's provided. I think that if he were to have lines like the Joker we know and commit heinous acts like the Joker we know, he would be playing this spot fucking on. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is truly a jokester in this. He's like, haha, trick, Jack in the Box, or I'll shoot you out of the fucking window, you know, like,
yeah.
But regardless, I do think Cesar Romero as the Joker is one of my favorites. I think he's awesome in this role, and I just love that he refused to shave his mustache for the role, so you can like see it very plainly when they zoom in on his face, just underneath all the face paint.
Beautiful.
Just glorious.
He refused. Like, they asked him to.
Oh yeah, and he was like, no.
Huh. I just kind of...
He was like, this is simply not that important.
I kind of thought it was intentional. That, like, they just... It's just a joke of a movie, so might as well just have... I don't know. Like, I thought it was just a part of the movie. But that's I don't know, even... Maybe even better. That it's just the actor being like, fuck, I'm not shaving my mustache for this.
There's actually a really cool behind-the-scenes photo of the actor who plays Penguin, Burgess Meredith, and Cesar Romero behind the scenes in a hotel room smoking cigarettes next to a window, and it looks like a fucking mobster story picture is about to start. It's absolutely pimp, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it if you Google it. But Cesar Romero smoking.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Dang.
Hard as fuck.
Damn. Yeah, that's what a in '66. That like what was going on in the world in the year 1966.
We would have been in Vietnam, or we would have been about to be.
Dang. Okay. Wow. You Google what happened in 1966. Adam West debuts as the Batman. Star Trek debuts. NASA launches. It's the first thing. The first thing is Batman for 1966. That's kind of nuts.
Crazy.
But I don't know. This was a very fun and I think perfect like starting point for the project. It's just nice that like the first superhero movie really is just kind of a fun, just for shits and gigs.
It's perfect too, especially since next Friday we're doing Superman 1978, and it is a movie that takes itself much more seriously, but is still extremely campy and comic booky. It takes the best elements of what we have come to love about comic book movies and the most fun elements of what happens in this movie and puts them together and just makes one of my favorite superhero flicks of all time in Superman. But how about we get to a good old rating of Batman 66? You ready for that shit?
Yeah, what order are we going in here? Usually we stick with enjoyment but we have a new thing in here.
We have a new category. Yes, we have a new category. So if you've been following us, you know that we have a 10-point scale rating our movies. Obviously, for the 52-year journey through film, it was 5 points. We went ahead and doubled it for the comic book project because we felt we could be much more accurate with a 10-point scale. Feels much more comfortable giving something a 5 out of 10 than it does giving a 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
There's something
more natural.
Yeah, I think so too. And
we got
so
10 of these.
10 of the fingers. It makes sense. But yeah, so we got enjoyment out of 10. It's just completely subjective. However it resonates with you, that's where you're putting that enjoyment category. It's just how much you like it. For its genre, and we're going to go with family comedy for this genre. We're going to kind of try to... They're all superhero movies. So that's just kind of implied. You know, like as a superhero family comedy, how are we feeling about it? And then we've also got our critical rating, as you'll know from our 52-year journey through film. That's just all things considered. Acting, cinematography, direction, writing, all that. I have a feeling this one is going to do super well in that category. And then lastly, we've got a new addition for this comic book project, and out of 10, it is adaptation. And that's just how well they took the character from the comics and put it on screen in a faithful way. We wanted to incorporate this because it's been big talks in recent years, I think to Moon Knight last year on Disney Plus specifically, where I do find that to be an incredibly enjoyable and pretty well done TV show. However, it's a pretty horrid adaptation. It would go rather high in that enjoyment genre and critical, but it would probably fall pretty hard in adaptation. So that's kind of why we wanted to add it. I wanted to make it clear that our rating, when it comes to enjoyment, does not have to be dependent on how good of an adaptation it was. We can just enjoy it for what it is and rate it separately if we need to for that adaptation. So it feels like the way we have it set up is the order we should go in: enjoyment, genre, adaptation, film.
All right. The first one. How did it start off? Enjoyment. Well, I mean, as enjoyment goes, I feel like I've been saying that this movie was very, very fun and that I didn't care while, like certain things that were happening. So like it was very, very fun. But it wasn't like the best time of my life watching this movie. I'm not like, oh my God, this is one of the best movie experiences I've ever,
I've actually kind of sculpted how whenever you're like, sometimes when you take a psychology class or something and there's like the 1 to 10 questions where it's like 0 is absolutely terrible, 10 is like nothing better in life, That's kind of how I wanted to do this, with one being absolutely fucking hated it for enjoyment, two being like didn't like it, won't watch it, three being wasn't good, didn't like it, four being like I probably won't watch it again, five being like it was all right, six being like pretty good, seven being like that's good. That's good now. We're getting good. 8 being like, oh fuck, yeah, that's real good. 9 being like, that's fucking great. 10 being like, that's perfect. I loved it. I find myself right in the middle here for enjoyment, sort of at a 5, 6, 5 or 6 is what I mean by that.
Was it better than just an average movie? Would you...
Here's the thing. There are infinitely many comic book movies on this project that I would watch sooner than I would this again.
Yeah.
I think 5 out of 10 is pretty fair.
Yeah, I feel middle of the road's perfect there.
I did like it. It was all right.
Yeah. It was all right. Yeah. It was all right.
I had an all right experience. I had a very fun time. And, you know, for me, the actual critical elements do affect how much I enjoy watching a movie, so I will always consider them. And it being a straight-up fun movie can only take it so far. Yeah. You know, like, this movie is probably going to do pretty bad in that film genre, or film category. And, you know, I didn't put it at anything below a 5. It's pretty middle of the road. But, shit, for genre, how you feeling there? Family comedy, out of 10 here.
Would I watch this with my family? You know, I mean, there's nothing in it that I'm super... I'd be like, ooh, my mom and dad are right over there, or, you know. But I, like, for the kids, I feel like as a kid, this would just be... This would
super
be funny.
Enjoyable.
And yeah, like, for what it is, at the time, with what they had...
Pretty fucking funny. I do think there are better family comedies. Plenty of better family comedies. But I do think it's I go probably 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a little, it's not necessarily just average, just completely middle of the road. It's good. It did a little better. Yeah, like, I wasn't fully there, but I enjoyed it. I like a little more than I enjoyed it. It filled the genre a little better than I enjoyed it. So, yeah, a point higher than that.
All right, fair. For adaptation, from what you've read, how do you feel they did as far as putting the Batman we got to know on page, on screen?
It's kind of different because this Batman in the comics is very serious and kids. This is why henchmen without their guns are, you know, like it's more of a like, hey, I'm here to teach you a lesson, you know, like instead of just making jokes. Like he has a few, I guess, jokes in there, but like.
Well, the henchmen without their guns thing kind of reminded me of the like. I feel like they kept the spirit of the Batman from the comics up to this point pretty faithfully. Like whenever he's like the drink, like Robin's like, "Why'd you save that riffraff in the bar?" He's like, "Well, they might be drinkers, Robin, but they're still people."
That's true. Okay. I guess whenever I'm thinking of like adaptation, I guess I'm thinking like, how similar is the character of Batman to the character of the comic book Batman?
And that's fair.
You know?
That's fair, yeah.
But I guess that's not all of it. Like, you also have to think of how the villains compare. How, just general story, I guess, how the stories go. But
I felt it was a pretty good adaptation to Catwoman, as far as we read.
Yeah.
Fell a little flat on the Joker adaptation. You know, I don't think it was as good as, or as clear a villainous presence as he is.
Joker has spoken.
Yeah, the Joker has spoken. He'll die in 24 hours.
Do you read in the Joker, whenever you're reading, like, Do you just read it in like your reading normal head in
I usually
inside
try
talk,
to
or-
do a little bit of something. It depends on the art of the book, depends on like what the vibe of the book kind of evokes for me, and these kind of give me Mark Hamill Joker vibes is kind of where I was at.
I hear Mark Hamill. That's if it's a Joker that I'm just hearing in my head, I hear Mark Hamill's voice first. Like that's the voice that's in my head for Joker.
If I'm seeing a little bit more of a disheveled Joker though, that's kind of like looks like he's losing it. And obviously Joker is a complete nut no matter what, but if he's all hair fucked up, makeup runny, that's Heath Ledger. That's I hear a little bit more of a what are we gonna do here?
Yeah, I'd say I don't know. Maybe this is like a
The Joker has spoken.
6, 7.
I could see it. I can see it.
Like,
Yeah, you know, like I
think it was.
I will say I think they nailed Robin. I think this was a great adaptation of Robin.
That's fair. It might be hard.
Great adaptation of Robin. Solid adaptation of Batman. Good adaptation of Catwoman, of Riddler, of Penguin. The only place I feel they fell a little flat is the Joker, and therein I'd go pretty high with it. Like I think 6, maybe just another 6 or a 7. I'm down for either of those. Because on my scale, 7 was like really good.
Ooh. Is it important? Like the adaptation, we're thinking of how did the movie do well to the comic? You know, like how faithful did it stay, I guess you could say. But there's also the flip side of it of like, did they make a movie based on the comic that is like a good movie for the public to watch? You know, like did it do well in the movie form? You know, like as opposed to just staying true to the character arcs and character tropes and stuff. And I feel like they did very well there. Like they made a Batman movie that wasn't like, I feel for the time would have been enjoyable to watch. Like this would have been like anyone could have gotten into it. Like I feel you know, like it wasn't anything where it's like, oh, I need to watch 24 movies before I can understand this one. It's just they made a movie that anyone could enjoy at the time, and that was something different. And
this is the category where the time period is most important. Like, this came out in 66. As far as the comic books prior to 66, how well was it adapted? I think it was pretty damn good. I think 7 out of 10 is fair.
Yeah, that's what I think. A 6 was too low. I was thinking you'd like 7, 7.5, like possibly even.
Yeah, I think a 7's fair. 7 out of 10,
good.
that's real good. You know, that's a real good score.
I guess what would be one where you're like, it's a 10? Do you have like a comic, like an adaptation that is just?
I don't want to give any spoilers away for
fair
next week.
Oh,
but Superman's a damn good adaptation of the comic book character. Like it's like, and we like there are a few where it's like, oh, they nailed that. Okay. And you'll know it when you watch it. You'll know after you read it and stuff. You'll go, oh, that just captures the spirit so fucking effectively. It happens some with Captain America down the road, a couple Batman adaptations, Hulk. They do really good at Hulk a couple times, but yeah. But now that brings us to our last rating, and that is as a film on a critical level. How are we feeling about this one? And this one is the one where it's fallen. It's fallen here.
It's below a 5. It's below
for sure.
The middle.
I'd say it's below a 4.
It's probably It's probably like it's probably a 3.
Well, because here's my thing. One of the thoughts I had was like, but how much can you ask of a film made in 1966 as far as visual appeal? And the answer is a hell of a lot more than this. You very much so can. I think 2 or 3 years later comes Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. which is a visual marvel. It's not very far off as far as time period. Let's see.
Like 11 years later. I know it's 11 years, but that's Star Wars. You have The Godfather in 74. You know, like, movies looked... They looked good. Like, you know, like... I guess if it's, like, more visual effects heavy...
We could even take it back fucking 25 years and hit, like, Citizen Kane, a movie that's talked about as one of the greatest of all time, period, and that was 1941.
True.
So that's my thing, is I was like, how much can I expect visually? And it's like, I could have expected quite a bit. You know, they could have had a little bit better of a touch here. It was just, and I don't want to discredit it for this because it pretty much was a TV movie. It's a TV movie, you know, like it's not good. I find myself at roughly a 3 out of 10. Because it was still massively entertaining, and that's regardless of how objective you're getting. That is important, that it kept you entertained.
Yeah, I mean, that would put it at about, like, the right below the... I might rewatch this. Like, I'm totally fine not rewatching this really ever again. Maybe, like, little clips of... Just to go back to see a part again. But as, like, the whole movie, I mean, like, I might. Like, it's just kind of like, I might. A 4 is like, I'll probably revisit it at one point in my life, once again, maybe. A 3 is where it starts to be like, okay, I don't know if I need another watch after
I
that.
think I'm probably good.
I don't know. It comes out to a 5.25 overall for the movie, which, you know, a little better than at middle of the road.
I like that. I want to kind of... I also want to do a, like, sort of compare and contrast for our ratings as we come to them with the scores we did for our 52-year journey through film and the stuff we did for, like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb.
Ooh.
So, like, we have it at a 5.25, which on IMDb would be a 5.3, 5.25, and on Rotten Tomatoes would be a 53%. So I'm just kind of like, I wonder what we've got going there. I'm going to go ahead and look it up over here.
IMDb is more loving than we are. They give it a 6.5 out of 10.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it finds itself on a critics 80%, and on an audience score of 62%. So more loving than we are on this one as well. Very, very interesting. That's hilarious. 35 reviews for that 80%, over 100,000 ratings for that 62%. So that's pretty reliable.
Wow.
And we're about...
I mean...
Our enjoyment. Yeah. I feel good about it. I don't have any...
I'm not like, oh no, we need to bump up the enjoyment, or we need to bump up the... Like, I'm not... Yeah, like... I don't know.
This is how I felt about the movie.
Yeah. Hearing that people loved it a little more, like... It's probably the iconicism. They're rating it,
nostalgia,
for the nostalgia. Yeah, it's like
there's a lot that goes into that. I feel like we're trying to approach this as objectively as we possibly can, save for our enjoyment rating there, and that only makes up 25% of our rating. So
true.
It's not weighed any heavier than anything else. So. With that, Batman 1966 comes to a 5.25 out of 10. That's 53% on the old tomato meter. And I cannot wait for next week with Superman 1978. We're going to read some action comics, going to read some, early action comics. That's that shit right there, man. I love that stuff. But, we'll be back next week with that. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod. Gonna change it come the new year, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content at this point, bunch of comic book pull lists every week, book reviews, movie reviews that I see and don't cover on the main pod, TV reviews if there's a new season that's just concluded or me and Joe got something extra we want to talk about. Follow on Twitter at PennyBloomPod. Follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review. If you're fucking with me and Joe, I believe right about now, I might be wrong, this might change in the coming months. We're a little bit far out. The Bad Batch bitches might have returned. You might be tuning into that, as I believe it started just a couple days ago on January 4th. And if it didn't, I'm going to sound like a complete idiot, but that's where the reports are saying as of August or September. So I'm going to go with it. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. I can't wait to get into 2024 with this project. Kicking it
going
off
deep.
Very well.
Going deep. Very, very high point to start at. But remember, everybody, peace, love, and bloom. And bon voyage, pussy.